Gilbert's old instructional videos got everything that a budding guitar player could want. They've got insane string skipping alternate picking licks, music career war stories told in a water raft filled with puppies.
First time I worked with a producer was Mike Varney.
And even magic tricks.
Pull a rabbit out of the guitar.
But unfortunately, when it comes to guitar technique, there are quite a few things that Paul has left out of his videos that would have been so helpful to me back in the early 2000s, back when I was watching clips from those instructional videos over and over on repeat, trying to make some sense of exactly how he was holding the pick and fretting notes and all that stuff to play as fast and as clean as he does. But through a lot of analysis, experimentation, and trial and error, I discovered what some of these things are, and I'm going to share them with you in this video so you can use them to become a cleaner, faster, and more accurate guitar player. Let's go. The first of these is what I call wrist dominant picking, and this really flies in the face of conventional wisdom that tells you to use your wrist on a single string when you pick and use your arm on every single string change. If you watch Paul play, for example right here, you can see that he doesn't really use his arm on string changes, even though in this 2-string lick he's changing strings pretty often. And the reason for that is because these two strings are obviously right next to each other, and it's much more efficient to just use the smaller muscles of the wrist to pick through them and not engage the bigger muscles of the arm. And even when he does much larger string skips, you can see he's leading with the wrist as well and is not using the arm really as much as you would think. This was super profound to me when I first realized this, because up until that point I was trying to use my arm on every single string change and taking that rule literally. So the lesson for you here is take any lick you struggle to play fast, examine its picking motions, and try to use a little bit more wrist, a little bit less arm, and see if it doesn't feel easier to play fast. I bet it will. Now the second thing that blew my mind in Paul's videos that I've never heard anybody else talk about is what you can see on the screen right here. You can see he's picking the strings pretty hard, but I want you to notice what his fretting hand is doing. Notice how his left elbow is moving side to side, almost like it's doing a little dance. And that little motion side to side is a sign that his left arm is incredibly relaxed. This was my first glimpse at what I now call hand independence, where it doesn't matter how hard you're picking the strings with the right hand or with the picking hand, your fretting hand needs to be completely independent in terms of the amount of tension it is using. So this became a good visual cue for me for what a perfectly relaxed fretting hand and arm should look and feel like when I play. And even though you're not supposed to move your elbow from side to side when you're playing scales, obviously, you can just hold down a chord and practice doing a little bit of this elbow dance to test if your arm is as relaxed as it should be. What you can also do is have like a friend or wife or girlfriend or whatever try to push your elbow while you're playing guitar, and if there's a lot of resistance from your elbow, that's a sign that your entire arm is way too tense and you need to relax it, and when you do, you'll play better. The next thing that blew my mind was Paul's legato articulation, or specifically his pull-offs. When playing licks like this, what was happening was his pull-offs were so loud and so articulate, they were almost on par with his picking hand. Meanwhile, we know that if you want to play legato fast, you can't use too much tension because that's going to slow you down. So what was going on here? What was happening was, to do the pull-off, Paul wouldn't just put the finger on the string as if fretting a regular note with the fingertip. He'd actually put the finger slightly above the string, so the tip ended up actually on the wood between the D string and the A string in this case. And when doing the pull-off, he'd get more leverage on the string this way because he would grab the string essentially with the print, with the pad of the finger, and that allowed him to get a much louder note with a lot less effort.
Some kind of pattern, a little bit slower.
Now the next thing I picked up from Paul that I never heard him explain, but it's all over his videos if you pay attention, that is about his use of distortion. And it may sound a little bit hypocritical of me to say what I'm about to say, but that is to use distortion but not hide behind it. And the reason I say this is a little bit hypocritical of me is because I have very high output pickups in my guitar. They run on 9-volt batteries, and whenever I plug into an amp, I always turn the gain all the way to 10. But the way I stick to the rule of using distortion without hiding behind it is I turn the volume on my practice amp no higher than speaking level. This way I get the best of both worlds. I get to hear the heavily distorted sound that I personally like, and I also get to hear the acoustic pick attack that helps me verify that my articulation is on point and my hands are in sync. And if you pay attention, you can clearly hear the acoustic pick attack in Paul's playing when he plays the examples in his videos. And this duality of sound is something I personally like and I found to be a pretty effective tone to use while practicing. As you can see, there's quite a bit more to what the great players are doing to get fast and clean than meets the eye. And if you want some more help from me with getting faster on guitar, check out the link in the description of this video or go to the page on the screen right now. I'm going to show you a free 1-hour masterclass called Guitar Speed Formula. What it is a special way to practice I've developed where you don't have to do any slow practice whatsoever. In fact, you only have to practice maybe 20 or 30 minutes per day, and if you do what I tell you in this masterclass, you can very often see some pretty impressive speed gains in as little as 1 day. If you like the sound of that, check out the link, enter your email address, I'll send you the video for free. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Paul Gilbert's invisible guitar speed secrets, check out this video right here where I do the same thing on John Petrucci's rock discipline video. Watch it next.